Hi, this is Sarah Popejoy, and this is something I'm going to be starting every Tuesday called Tuesdays with Sarah. I know it's real original. I don't know what we'll do if we change the date. But anyway, so the idea or the concept of this is just to use snippets of learning through the week, but then also just sharing with you strategies and ways that you can get your music out there in massive ways to as many and get as many fans and actually sell music online. And so anyways, there's I know it depends on what stage you are as a musician. You know, some musicians starting out, you have no idea the road ahead of you when it comes to trying to market and get your stuff out there. Doing shows is great and is an obvious great things. Taking things to a much larger scale that's available to us on the internet is a whole nother topic. So that's what I like to talk about. It's not so much the touring stuff, because I believe that there's plenty of stuff out there about the touring stuff. This is more about how to effectively market your stuff online. And so let's talk about that for a bit. Um, Yesterday I actually put out an article, and I think it's a good starting point, and I'm just surprised that I haven't mentioned it before, because honestly it's kind of like the building blocks for everything you do online. I don't know why I'm shaking here. Anyways, so it's kind of like the building blocks for marketing online. For instance, if you market yourself and the things I talked about yesterday were the difference between cold traffic, warm traffic, and hot traffic. And I kind of, a little bit different, the same concept that, everybody who's marketing online already knows or is already doing it. Whenever you're, a lot of musicians are really good about setting up social sites. Usually the thing we have down is we know well enough that we're supposed to start an email list. The problem is we don't know what to do with those two things. And you have such, what do I say, like there are such jewels there that if properly, then you'll be able to reach a much larger amount of people and grow your email list and so forth. So before I get too technical or whatever, let me just start out with cold, warm, and hot traffic. So whenever you're marketing your music online, and most of the times I see musicians marketing their, you probably see it all the time too. Because one good thing that I really love about us musicians is that we tend to support one another, I mean, not all the time, I'm sure there's, but for my experience, especially in Nashville, is we tend to be very supportive of each other. To really kind of they're out. But the problem is that a lot of musicians don't know a lot about marketing. They may know a lot about the music itself and putting together songs and stuff like that, but when it comes to marketing as a whole, we've kind of been kind of weak at that. So my goal and my vision as a musician myself, and let me tell you a little bit of my background for those who don't know me or aren't familiar with me, is I spent about 10 years in Nashville doing the Nashville scene. Had a lot of fun. I started out when I first moved to Nashville. I was doing the open mics at the Bluebird Cafe and stuff like that, and then graduated to, putting together an album, and then did some touring and got some, a little bit of radio play, and did a little bit of, and just did that whole gamut. The thing is, it was very costly, and I found it hard to be able to, because at the time I was working as a nurse, and I would work doubles again, so I'd have more time to write through the week. course, that schedule changed from time to time, but for the most part. And then I was just trying to tour as much as I can, maybe take a weekend off, and then just go out and do a little string of tours. But I was going somewhere with this. But anyways, but the point is that it got really costly really fast. And I know that most musicians know that, of course, nowadays, thank goodness, the gas prices have gone back down, right? But so it can get very costly, and I know you know this. So when I really started delving into online marketing, there wasn't as much stuff out there at first. Not that I didn't look, but I did look, but it was just hard to find things specifically for musicians to be able to help you get yourself out there online. And so eventually I came across something that I'm going to talk about later in the show, is actually do just that. And what I love about it is it kind of like connects the dots, because like I said, we as musicians, we tend to have we already know about the email list, we already know about social media, but the only thing is, what we don't know is we don't know the specifics of how to build that and how to really take it to another level. And a lot of times we do stuff in social media that actually hurts us instead of helps us, and in the same way with our email list. So going back to warm and cold and hot traffic. So whenever you're marketing, before you've ever built your sales funnel, which is where I was going with this, because you have to know what you're getting ready to do before I can really explain more all the different types of traffic. So when you're building a sales funnel, putting out the carrots, so to speak, of attracting people to your site, to your music, to your blog, and to get on your email list. Now, obviously, it's not about, it is a numbers game, but it's not always about the numbers. Because, and I say that because the most important thing you can do is try to attract highly targeted people. Music. Number one, they're not going to fall off your email list as fast. And number two, it's what they're looking. And so both parties are going to be happy. So that's why it's so important to try and narrow things down. And so, but in saying that, when you're going after, so we're talking about the 3 different types of traffic again. Cold traffic. Cold traffic is basically people who, they don't even know who you are. They've never heard your name. They may have thought they've heard your name, but like they have no idea. They can't tell you what genre you are. So these are people who just, they're kind of out of nowhere. So these are the type of people you're going to want to search out, highly targeted, because you haven't really narrowed these people down yet, because they are cold traffic. So in other words, a campaign like a Facebook campaign. Well, what's really great about it may not be the #1 best way to advertise, but it's a very good way to advertise. It's a very good way for people who are not used. But what you can do is you can target who your audience is when you're advertising on Facebook. So by doing this, you can attract people who are within your market. Like, for instance, if, let's say your music is a cross between Jason Mraz and Patty Griffin. I'm just throwing 2 names out there. Well, if you were to target people who liked Patty Griffin and people who like Jason Mraz, then there's a good that you could get a following of people that way. And it's a whole lot more cost effective, because when you're targeting who would more than likely like your music, then you're available to be able to for people to be able to find you easier, and you don't have to weed through all the people who just maybe they only like Tim McGraw and country music, you know. So that's one of the main traffic, is you want to make sure that it's very targeted. And then another thing with cold traffic is cold traffic is not really meant to at first you know, just to right off the bat to be selling to. So for instance, let's say I'm putting out ads out there to people who've never heard of me before, and I'm targeting, let's just go with Jason Mraz and Patty Griffin or whatever. So what I'm not going to want to do is say, buy my album, it sounds just like Patty Griffin and, you know, these two people. You know, you might get a very, very small percentage, but the point is, what you want to do is you want to kind of lure them in at first, and you want to take the first thing, you know, and that what I would recommend is, because if you give them you got to give them something they want. A lot of times I see people, they know that this is important to be giving away something, but they'll say something like my single. And that can be good if your single is on the radio and people have heard it before, and then maybe they would want that single. But if your single is not on the radio, then nobody really has the desire to want it, because they don't know to want it yet, because they haven't heard it. And because there's so much music out there, you really have to be different. So in that instance, what might be a really great idea is to, if you were and Jason Mraz, you know, fans, then you would do their songs, attract people who were fans of those people to listen to your stuff. So and then, you know, past that, then what you would do is you would give, like, say, ask for their email. But and I'm probably running through things maybe a little fast for some people, maybe a little slower for others, but I'm just trying to give you some ideas and kind of show you the difference between, you know, kind of what a cold market is. And I'm focusing on cold market so much because cold market is a majority of musicians who are either just starting out or don't have a record deal yet, and even some who have record deals already, but are just not really out there yet. It's basically who you are marketing to is a cold traffic. Warm traffic, on the other hand, is people who've heard of you before, who've heard your songs, who maybe like what you're doing, but they don't really, they haven't really bought anything from you yet. And then, but hot traffic would be somebody who's bought from you, loves what you do, and of course it's going to be easier to sell to people who are in hot traffic. But what you're going to want to do is, it's all about taking people through the process, and that's kind of what I'm getting at today. Is when you're creating sales funnels, you're creating these processes where people go from cold to warm to hot. And you continually have people within each market. You continually have people you're marketing to that are in the cold market that you're trying to get over to the warm market, and people who are in the warm market you're trying to get over into the hot market, and then hot market that you're reselling to. These are the people, you know, in the hot market who've already bought from you, who already love what you're doing. You can say, hey, buy my album. Hey, this is the next concert. Go to my show. You can give more direct commands like that, and right off the bat, you know, you don't have to explain yourself. They already know who you are. They already love what you're doing. And so these are just a few examples. But the point being is that you need a system. You need to be able to take these things that you already have going for you. You know, more than you've already, you know, even if you haven't built up your email, you probably already have an email list going. And if you don't, then, you know, well, that's that'd be a first step for you. But and then also you probably already have, in addition to an email list, you probably already have you know, social media sites. You may be doing, you know, somewhat well on those social media sites. But to be able to really harness those things, need to be able to build up a system. You need to build up a way to be able to turn your cold traffic into warm traffic and your warm traffic into hot traffic. In other words, strangers into fans who love you. So these are just a few tips that I wanted to give you today on this first day with Sarah. And like I said, I hope to be doing this every single Tuesday around 4 o'clock. And we'll be streaming live, and it'll be up for a little bit on this same page. And you can always go back to the link that you're at now and check back with me on the next Tuesday, and I'll be giving more information as well. And then also, I just want to spend just a little bit of time encouraging you as a musician. I know the road can be tough sometimes. I know sometimes, you know, and I guess it's just life in general, but you know, we can face things that are hard. We can face things that are difficult. That, you know, I remember one time there was a friend of mine, her name was Stacy, and she told me, you just got to keep moving forward. And sometimes in life, I don't know if I'm speaking to you now, but I'm speaking to someone who's watching this, that you just got to keep moving forward. You just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other. I wholeheartedly believe in you, that that you can do this. You know, if you're courageous enough to dream and you're courageous enough to follow your dreams, then I know in my heart that you can do this, and I believe in you, and I want you to know that, and I hope that I get to meet you one day and tell you that face to face as well. And then also, I'd also like to tell you a little bit more about the systems that I was talking about earlier. The systems that I use are called the Viral Blogging System, and it's you can watch the video. There's a video all about it below. There should be a link right below this video, depending on where it's posted. If it's posted on social media, it may be above. But the system that I use is I'm able to reach a massive amount of people in a much greater way than I ever could before, because I'm able to create those systems that take people from cold to hot. And it's not just about, you know, all these marketing terms, but to me it's really about developing relationships with people, developing a relationship with you, you know, and rapport with you, because I really care about what you do, and I think that what you're doing is really brave, and I think that you deserve to be successful in this industry. And if you're ever feeling down, feel free to email me, and I promise I'll pep you back up, because you know, sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need to encourage the person beside us. Sometimes we need to be able to, you know, be an encouragement to other musicians as well. Because it's not just this thing where we, you know, with our instruments in our room, we're brave enough to go out into the world and just share, you know, our art and our craft that we've been gifted with, that we've been blessed enough to be gifted with. And so I just want to empower you today. That's for Musicians Empowered is I want to, you know, empower each musician personally. It's not just about, you know, selling a sales funnel, but it's also about giving you the tools to be able to get to where you need to be, so you don't have to learn these things out there, so that you can just pick it up and do it. And so I want to share with a couple successes I had this week. Not so much, it's not bragging on me, it's bragging about the system I've been talking about. So a couple of the successes this week, or last week, because it's only Tuesday, I put together a top 100 recording studios and list, and it was on the blog. And so what was really cool is, because of using these things that I've learned from the system, I got a retweet out by Capital Studios. So super happy about that. That was a really cool thing. And so, and then also just got a lot of views, and that one was very successful as well. It was so much fun being able to reach out all over the world in those studios, and got a lot of really great feedback from that. So that was just a ton of fun. And also, just you know, we having new people join and stuff like that. And so these next 90 days, I'm going to work really hard at giving you as much value. And then if over the next 90 days, these Tuesdays with Sarah seem to keep adding value, and if and which is why it's so important that I get feedback from you. I'd like to know what you think about these, and just if they've helped you in any way. And thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time. I know that it's valuable, and I hope to continue help you get to the next level. Oh, and I've almost forgot. Okay, so we're going to have this Thursday, we're going to have a special webcast like this with even more information, a little more detailed, a little more and some more practical application as to how you can take your music to the next level. But it will only be available to people, or, well, there should be a timer going off, and so before Thursday at 4 o'clock. If you want to go ahead and get started, click the button. I encourage you to do that. You know, it's up to you. You don't have to, but you know, because these are totally free. They're totally, you know, and they'll be coming every Tuesday. But we will be going more in depth as to how to actually use the system, and actually, because my goal is I don't want to just get people to buy the system and then have them flounder and not be able to, you know, use it and just and get their music out there. To me, my goal is I want to create a core team, and I'm continually building on that team, and I want to build up my team. And so by doing that, that's why I'm going to start putting these things every Thursday together, just a little more detailed information, how to really build those sales funnels and take cold traffic into people who love and buy your music. Have a wonderful, blessed day, and if you want to be there on Thursday, just click the button below. Have a wonderful day. Bye.